Hello, this is Tom Rake, and hey, we're here with a treat today. We're going to do an alignment with the X-613 launch aligner, but we're going to do it on something a little larger. If you notice, we got a beautiful Ford Expedition here, not the smallest vehicle out there. You can also do a 250, 350, etc., so that's not a big deal. But we want to kind of show you how this works basically with the tire type wheel clamp units on this unit. And basically it works just the same as it always does, and we'll kind of take you through from the first of the procedure all the way through. And here to help me today is Harrison. Harrison, step on over. Let's get this alignment done, okay? Good deal. Hey, what are you going to do first?
Well, we're going to go ahead and go in here to four-wheel alignment.
I like it. Good.
And then select our car through here.
Very good. You know, you look like you've done this a few times.
A couple times.
Okay, a couple times. I'm liking that. Oh, you got a four-wheel drive and all. There you go. You got measurements. Confirming the vehicle, good. Now, we're to the point right now where we can do a tire inspection. We want to put it in the same place where it was and then kind of work it from there. So, very important that you do all these steps correctly. Let's see, it looks to me like you're going to put on what next?
Absolutely, we're going to put on the
wheel clamps. Yeah, you got it. Okay, let's get it done. Now, Harrison is going to use the tire wheel clamp type adapter in this particular case, and so it's going to grab onto the tire. Now remember, this adapter has a balance vial on the top of it, so you have to make sure very simply that it's level. So we're going to level it, and he's going to go ahead and put it on, making sure that the wheel clamp is all the way against. If you notice, he gave it a good tug to make sure he's in good shape there. And then he's going to go ahead and do all the other units. Calibration units, we've got to put those on. So hey, why don't you take us through the one on this side, and then you get the other side on, and we'll go on to the next step. Now, if you notice, they're magnetic, so he basically places it on the steel rack, puts it in place, and he's got it centered into the vehicle so we can blow the beam across to the other side. He's going to go ahead and place the one on the other side, and when he places the one on the other side, what's going to happen, of course, is we're going to get some blue beeps, a blue, and then it's going to turn green. When we're all set as far as the green goes, we're ready to go. Take it from there. As you can see, we're ready to do the rolling compensation, and it gets interesting on these newer vehicles with the push start and such, and they have new things like basically situations where we put it into park automatically. Okay, we're good right there, and now it's telling us to roll it forward. So we're going to chock the wheels now that we're back exactly where we were, and we're good to go. So we're going to go right now. So we're going so many degrees, and we're doing calculations. Okay, now straight ahead. So we're back for straight ahead. It's that quick and easy to do all of this. So we're good here, okay? So what we've got now is our measurements and our readings. So our readings are ready to go. Hey, if I'm the customer and you gave me that printout right there, what do you think I would think?
You'd be pretty impressed, I think.
I sure would. Hey, this guy knows his stuff. Hey, and I can see right there that basically it's in green and we're good to go. So hey, that's it. We've got all the numbers. Now, the nice thing about it is we can go ahead and make our adjustments. We could go ahead and store that next to these numbers. So we got a before when it came in, and we got an after when we're done with it, present it to the customer. The customer knows we did our job properly. You did your job properly. That's even better yet.
For sure.
Keeps my knuckles a little better. I appreciate you. Okay. This is Tom, and hey, you want more information on this aligner, go ahead and get in contact with Launch USA. We'll put the information on the screen so you can get there, ask them any questions. And remember also, hey, there's available to you long hands-on training classes. By long, I mean 3 days to make you an alignment specialist like Harrison's going to be right over here. So we're good. We'll talk to you later. Thanks. Let's get started. You'll notice that the tablet is obviously a bit different. It's been updated. It's a little bit quicker. It's got memory, etc., increases and such. But the SmartLink has also been changed. Now remember, this particular tablet hooks up to the car wirelessly. So this plugs into the car, and you can take the scan to wherever you want to go ahead and do your diagnostics. So we're going to go ahead now. We're going to actually hook up to this vehicle and show you some of the other things that are here. Okay, hey, it's Tom. We're back again, and we're doing some behind-the-wheel diagnostics. Now, you don't want to do this driving down the road. We're just doing this in the bay, of course. We're going to show you a way to handle intermittence and such with this tool, though, driving down the road. Tool doesn't have to be up there. It can be on the seat, and it works extremely well. We'll get to that in just a few, but let's get through some other things first. First things first, one of the nicest things about this tool is we can do a network test on here. If you take a look at the screen that shows all the different computers on this vehicle, there's a host of computers on here. And if you notice, there's a log up top that says normal, abnormal, scanned, and not equipped. So this will tell us what we have in this case on ADOS and all sorts of different systems. So let's go through the test and show you how quickly. I know you've probably been involved with some scan tools that did a test similar to this. And it took a long time. It took so long that you never used it after the first time. So I want to show you, we're going to do a high-speed scan on this. I'm going to touch the high-speed scan button, as you can see, and you'll notice how quickly it goes ahead and goes through all of the modules. So any module in green, you see there's a bunch in green, check out good. And then basically if you do have a DTC in a module, you'll get a red, and you'll also get how many trouble codes that the module has. So this thing is equipped with all the modules that you see here. It's limited, so it's got a lot of different modules, and it only has one DTC, and that's in the instrument panel. So we can get a look at that real quickly. I'm just going to touch IPC, of course, and there it is. We had ignition switch concern. I put that in there just so you could see a trouble code, so you can see how it works. Now, if you see the block that says X-431 fixed, we're not going to be able to go here because we only have a certain amount of time for this program, but you can get back with us in some other training programs. That is a complete database on vehicle repair, so we can get everything from torque specs to pretty much diagnostic procedures, trouble code procedures, etc., just by clicking on it. So not only does it give us the DTC, it gives us a path right to our manual, identifies in that online manual exactly what procedures to follow. It takes us in there for this particular vehicle. There's no picking a vehicle, a year, or anything. It automatically populates, which I think is a heck of a time saver. If you want a wiring diagram, you just go to X31 Fix and you're right there. So it's rather slick. So I'm going to touch anywhere else on here real quickly and get out of that screen. So this screen is really worthwhile if you have any kind of an issue. Now remember, we talked about having a problem with the CAN bus. That'll show us that we have a problem, and that will be affirmed here. Anytime I do a test on a vehicle, I like having at least 2 or 3 tests that show that I've got a given problem. Then I can be pretty assured that that's my problem. So this is a test that you should never skip. Now some people think, well, this takes time because they remember their old scan tool, but hey, you got these newer vehicles and such, and you've got this scan tool, it works pretty quickly. So we're done with that for now, but let's go a little different place, and I'm going to go ahead right now to system list. So we're going to go to system list in this particular case. This lists all the computers. So if you want to get to a computer quickly, you could go here. It's very easy to do, so it's not an issue. If you want to go back to system topology, there it is, not a problem. And there's also something called common functions, which is new. Now, we're going to skip over one of the selections that you see there. It's multi-system data stream. That is the neatest thing. Not all vehicles right now are going to support that because of the way they communicate like an older vehicle, but we're going to be able to do a lot with that on newer vehicles. We're not going to cover that today, but that's something you want to definitely look into also, or look at. So I'm going to go right now to common functions. This is a great shortcut to get to all the special functions, and we'll show you some of the functions. Now, just to give you an idea, the first one I want to go to is one that I've got about 12 calls on in the last week, and that's a Ford that the window goes up and then it comes down about halfway, and that's it. So it's lost its relearn. Someone put a new regulator in there, a new motor in there, whatever it was, and they didn't go through the calibration procedure. So I want to show you how that works real simply. Now I've got the window down right now, so the window's open. So I'm going to do the driver's side power door window, not the passenger side, I should say. So I'm going to tap on driver's side power window. So here we go. It's going to download the program. Now keep in mind, if you're doing advanced features, just like on the factory Ford tools, you need to be hooked online because you need to make sure you can get to the cloud, get to the server at launch, because there's certain things you're going to need to be able to do and get to. So it's going to ask me now, do I want to do the window position learning routine? Yes, I do, because my window doesn't stop where it should. I can't close the window. So we got to learn the top limit of the window and the bottom limit, so I'm going to hit yes. When I hit yes, it kind of gives me an idea what happens with the routine. Do you want to continue? Yes, I do. Turn ignition to the on position, position 2. So I'm going to shut the vehicle down. We're on right now totally. So I'm just going to turn the key on. And if I have my foot on the brake pedal, of course, it's going to restart. So make sure you have your foot off the brake pedal like I do now. I'm going to hit the button. So powered up, we're going to hit OK. It's going to tell us in progress. Now, next thing it has us do is start the engine. Now, always follow what the launch scan tool tells you to do. If you don't follow it, you won't go through the correct reset procedure in a Ford computer, and it may not work. And that's your fault if you don't read the screen and do what it tells you. So follow what the screen says exactly. So it tells me now to get the engine running, so I'm going to put my foot on the brake, hit the button, start the vehicle up, and I'm going to hit OK. So here's OK. Okay, it says wait 9 seconds, 8 seconds. It's going to go through a countdown because it's initializing. Now, if you watch the window over here, right now the window's down because I had it down. Okay, so it's going to show in progress basically. So it's communicating with the computer that's in a door right now. So it's getting it set up. Now notice the window's traveling upward. It tells me wait 39 seconds. The window's all the way up. Now the window travels all the way down. Now it's going to go ahead and record in the Ford computer where the stops are at the top and the bottom. So that's going to take about 29 seconds roughly for the Ford computer to learn it. And what it's going through right now is storing that in the information in the computer. Procedure completed successfully. Now my window's going to work as it should. So it's that simple to go ahead and correct a window issue like that. Scan tool has to, of course, have it in it, but it's that easy. So let's get into the next thing we want to look at. Okay, we all know that Ford has a few misfires as the vehicle gets older. We also know that sometimes we have engine damage. You know, we could have a problem with the engine itself, have a cylinder problem, etc. So what we're going to do first is we're going to go through a relative compression check. So as you know, the OEM Ford tool has a relative compression check. So does the launch Throttle 5. So what I'm going to do is tap on compress, and I show relative compression check. If you notice on your screen, I'm going to tap on relative compression check. It's going to go ahead and download the program, kind of very similar to the OE Ford tool, the FDRS in this case. Set the ignition state to key on, so I'm going to set the key on. Won't hit the brake and turn the switch on. I'm good, so I'm going to hit OK. And here we go. It says relative compression check, apply the park brake, read the instructions like I said. If you don't follow the instructions, the Ford computer may not allow the test. It has nothing to do with the launch scan tool. It has to do with you not completing the test correctly. So it tells me to fully depress the accelerator pedal to the floor and hold it. Do not press OK until all the above conditions are met. So I'm going to make sure all the above conditions are met. Here we go. Throttles to the floor. It's going to give me a self-check here. Is the key on engine off in range? It says in range. Battery check. Is it in range? Battery voltage is good, yes. That's going to give me the idea here that I'm going to go ahead and hold my foot on the brake in 10 seconds. Ten seconds is a long time when you're waiting. Okay, so we're done. 10 seconds. Now, I didn't interrupt anything or mess anything up, so you can see what this engine is really like here. You need to make sure that if you ever have a failure on a test, that you ensure that you did it correctly. And that would be no matter what scan tool you're using, the OE tool or the launch, hey, you work it from there. So if you notice, the relative compression on this particular vehicle is very, very, very good. So we're at 0% difference from cylinder to cylinder basically here. It's looking good. Also gives us the average cranking RPM. Remember, if you see a cranking RPM at 400, you probably have all the cylinders that are weak, because that shouldn't be cranking at 400. Average is somewhere between 2 and 3, depending on the battery condition and which engine's in there, of course. Remember, a turbocharged engine usually has lower compression. We go ahead and get more air and fuel in the cylinder using the turbo, so the base compression is usually less. So those engines tend to crank at a little higher RPM. If this was a non-turbocharged V6, instead of turbocharged like it is, the cranking RPM would probably be more about 240 or so. So that's a difference. A lot of people think because it's got a turbo, it's going to take more to crank. It does not. Compression ratio on turbo vehicles are statistically lower, so we can go ahead and introduce a bunch of boost into it without having issues. Okay, so there's your relative compression test. Now, to go along with that, this is not the first test I'd run. If you have a failure in a cylinder or misfire, that's why I'd go to this test. Make sure you run it correct. And what we're going to do now is we're going to go actually to the engine power balance test. So I'm going to tap on ENGPBM. Here we go. Okay, now this test is awesome anymore. It used to be great. It's now awesome. I'll tell you why in just a minute. So I'm going to hit power balance. We hit power balance. It's going to download just like the FDRS factory tool. And if you notice, it gives us all the information on it. Okay, and it tells us here that we can now also place the engine under load by putting the transmission in gear. Now the nice thing is too, we can also accelerate the engine and hold it at a steady point. If you have a misfire at idle, you can duplicate it at idle. If you have a misfire at 1,400 RPM, we're going to show you, you can go ahead and duplicate basically that condition to see if you're getting a misfire or not and tell what cylinder it's misfiring on. So this test is your go-to test on any Ford that has a misfire. So let's go ahead and handle it. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and start the vehicle. Here we go. Okay. Okay, we're loading the test up now. There's your test. If you notice, you've got a graph. This graph is clearable. Okay. If you had a misfire in there, you'd of course see the one cylinder go ahead and show a problem. I just glitched the throttle so you can see what happens. Now, if you notice, this is a graph and we're looking about 10 RPM. You know, it looks like the graph moves up and down quite a bit, but it really doesn't. It's about a 10 RPM swing. They want it within that 25, so it's not a problem. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually put this thing in reverse. Why reverse? Well, my camera guy up front's more expensive than the door, so I'm going to go ahead and run into the door, not my camera guy, if I'm going to run into something. I'm going to put it in gear. I'm going to hit clear. So here's this engine running in gear. If there was any misfire whatsoever, we'd have a situation where you'd see a big spike downward telling you which cylinder has the problem. Now, so this test works extremely well. In the earlier days, even with the factory tool, we could not go ahead on those vehicles and do this test loaded in gear, etc. So this is brand new, kind of nice stuff that works extremely well diagnostic-wise. We're going to go through and we're going to show you what it takes to get this aligner set up. And you know, I found someone that has never done an alignment, so we're going to go ahead and get some help here for someone that hasn't done this to show you how it really works as far as speed and such. So I'm going to bring Harrison in real quickly here. He hasn't done an alignment before. And Harrison's going to help us out first. He's going to show us a little bit of a tool here. This tool is for checking actually tire depth. So we're going to go ahead and do a tire depth check. Go ahead, Harrison. Let's start it off if you would. Harrison's going to start off with the left front tire, so the driver's front. And he's going to quickly go ahead and get us information on all of the tire tread depths very rapidly and quickly, and we're going to integrate it into the tire report. Now remember, alignment problem doesn't always go ahead and show up as tire wear, but it definitely can. So looking at the tires will give us a good idea if we have a scenario very simply where we need to do an alignment. And we're going to go ahead now and we're going to get ready to start with our alignment. So Harrison, if you'd come over here real quick, we need to identify the vehicle first, of course, because you can't remember all the alignment adjustments. So Harrison, if you would, let's pick this vehicle. Asian, if you notice he picks. And then he's going to go ahead and pick the Lexus that this is. So he's going to scroll down to Lexus, of course. Notice how easy it is. Then he's going to pick the right Lexus model of this particular vehicle. He's doing that right now and picking, of course, the year. Now that will be implemented to the service report. So the service report itself, when we're done here, is going to show the type of vehicle. So is it an all-wheel drive? Absolutely. We're going to confirm the car. Here's all the alignment measurements, as you can see on the screen, including diagnostic angles. Now, we then have tire inspection right over here. So let's go over into tire inspection. We're going to hit next, and we're going to import the information from our device that measured the tire. We're going to see that information as far as this goes. If you notice, it's populating from our test. So all of our tire depth information, as you can see on the scan tool, has been programmed in so we can get a look at. So we're going to hit next. So we have all of our tire information, which is great. We can do a complete inspection on the vehicle as far as parts and put it down in the record for the customer. We're going to go ahead and hit next in this particular case, and here's your alignment procedure. Now, if we notice, the first thing is align the front wheels, so we're going to pull it on the rack. We're going to align the front wheels with the slip plates right here in the middle, and we're good there. And then we're going to, of course, in that particular case, go to the next step. And we're blocking the rear wheels, which has been done. And then we're going to lock the steering wheel. So Harrison's going to grab the steering wheel lock and lock the steering wheel real quick, because we're going to go ahead and do a run-out check like all quality aligners do. But this alignment run-out check is going to be done very rapidly. So I'm going to go ahead and, in this particular case, hit the button. Now we got to put the targets on, and then we once again are going to go ahead and set the run out. So Harrison is going to go ahead and get the alignment wheel clamps and the targets, and we're going to go ahead and get those set up, show you how easy those are to set up. So we're going to start basically with this right front over here. And if you notice, he's going to go up to the wheel. You can set the good old clamp to be with the tire rim size initially. So he's preset it, so notice how close he is. He's going to push in very hard on the clamp. He's going to have it centered straight up and down, and he's going to go ahead and tighten it down. And then he's going to go ahead and give it a good yank to make sure it's on there. Notice how well they fit. He's going to go to the right rear now, and then he's going to go ahead, of course, and do the other two on the opposite side of the vehicle. So we have 4 wheel clamps to put on. They're all put on exactly the same way. Now remember, there's an optional clamp with 3 positions that go on the tire. Makes it a little quicker, but this clamp is inexpensive and they work extremely well. They're very repeatable and such also. And then what we're going to do, like I said, is we're now going to take the next step, which is we're going to go ahead and put the actual head units on. And you'll be a little surprised where they hook up, because they fit right in the center of the car. Now, the nice thing about that is, of course, the beams and such have a very short distance to travel. Not a lot of things get in the way of the beams and such, so very reliable as far as that goes. Now, these sensors do not have any kind of wiring on them. There's no wire connection, there's no strings, there's no beams, etc. So Harrison is going to grab the sensor that fits on this side. Harrison's going to go ahead and insert the sensor. It's magnetic, if you notice. He's all set. He's going to turn the switch on. We're good. Got a green light. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So he's putting that one on the same exact way. Once again, they're magnetic. The nice thing about this is it's a mobile aligner also. You don't have to do it on a nice rack like this one. So Harrison, come on. Boy, you did that awfully quick there, guy. So go ahead and hit next. So we're ready at this particular point. We've got the sensor on. It's telling us how to do it just to make sure we know it. If you notice, it's step by step. Tells us to make sure that we have a good path. So we're ready to go on. So Harrison, you ready to keep rolling? So go ahead. We're going to hit start calibration now. And it's going to go through, since we've just put everything together, it's going to go ahead and do a calibration to ensure that the calibration is correct. We are ready to go. So Harrison's going to hit next. And then what we're going to do now is our compensation. So Harrison is going to roll the vehicle. And I'll give him some instructions so he can see it real quickly. But he's going to roll it back. And if you notice on the screen, it's showing him actually rolling it back. He's going to get to the green area on the vehicle as he rolls it back. And when he gets to that green area and goes just past the green area, it's going to tell him push it forward. So he's ready to push it forward now. So he's going to push it back to where it was, and this does a compensation to make sure that all the sensors are reading accurately as far as their position that we placed them at. Notice we're in the green area now, and it's got a check mark, and we're ready to go. He's going to put the wheel chock back in, and that is basically our rolling compensation procedure. So now we're going to go ahead in this particular case and remove the steering wheel lock, because we're going to do a caster included angle measurement, which is very important to make sure that we're in good shape as far as this alignment goes. So we're going to go ahead and unlock our steering wheel. And when we unlock the steering wheel, we're going to go ahead now and turn the wheel. Since we're turning the wheels, we're going to go ahead basically and remove the actual pins in the good old turn plates, because the turn plates have to be able to move so that we can go ahead and do an actual alignment examination. So I'm going to hit next. And then we're going to go ahead in this particular case. It gives us all the instructions on the screen, if you notice. It's telling us, please turn the steering wheel to a straight ahead position. So we want the steering wheel straight ahead. There we go, straight ahead, as you can see on the screen. Now it's telling us, please turn the steering wheel in any direction. You can pick either left or to the right. So Harrison's going to go all the way over to the left in this particular case. And he's going to get into the green area and go just beyond it. Now it tells us go to the right. So he's going to bring it back to the right. It's going to go ahead and take the reading and then return the steering wheel to the center straight ahead position. Once it does that, we're all set there. And believe it or not, there's our alignment reading. There's our measurements. So we do have a situation where we need some alignment work done here. If you look especially at the right front camber angle, we've got a concern and we need to go ahead and make some adjustments as far as that goes. We are ready to go at this particular point. Harrison's done a great, what do you think of your first time doing an alignment check?
That was really easy.
Yeah, really easy. Now, here's the interesting thing. Harrison also went ahead and hit the print button for me, and look at this. I've got the full copy of the exact alignment printout here. I know not only the alignment angles, but I also have all the adjustable angles on here, and I have the fixed angles for diagnostic purposes. I can tell if I do have a bent strut, I have a frame with a problem. I can tell if one tire is set back because the car was in an accident or we had a big curb maybe. So all of that stuff is there. Stay tuned for more alignment training and have a great time at it. Quick tip here from launch on these wheel sensors, and that's any wheel sensor that contacts the tire. Make sure the tire sizes are the same all the way around the vehicle. Make sure the air pressure is correct, which you should do on any alignment anyway. However, there's a couple other things you want to be careful of. If you notice, if you look at the distance I have here and the distance I have here, it's pretty much the same. You want to make sure that the center of this shaft is definitely on the center spindle and the center of the hubcap area here. So you want to make sure this wheel is centered both up and down, and of course front to rear also. If you don't, you'll have an issue. What some people may do, and this is an accidental situation, you shouldn't do it, but I'm going to go ahead and loosen this up and give you an example of a way we could put this on wrong. And if you notice, I'm going to go ahead here and pull the little pin, and what I don't have here is any kind of engagement on the pin. So I have the hole right there, and I don't have it in the hole correctly because I'm in a hurry. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and tighten this thing down, and when I tighten them down, you'll notice that this doesn't tighten all the way. So what I'm going to do is just slide this thing in, assuming the hole's locked, and what's going to happen then is I'm going to have a scenario where right now, because of the friction from the unit here, this is actually staying, but the pin isn't lined up. So what'll happen is this will loosen up. As you notice right now, while you're doing the actual alignment, what loosens it up, you lose the accuracy of your alignment. So make sure your pins are always engaged. Make sure you have the same distance from here to here. If you notice, the distance that I have from here to here is totally different on this one. So I'm going to loosen it back up, and we're going to do it right. And I'm going to engage this pin all the way, okay, to make sure it's engaged, okay? Then I'm going to go ahead and tighten it back down. It doesn't take much time to do it right. So I've done it right. If you notice right now, the red knob is spinning, the black knob isn't, because that's the tension on it. And if you notice, it's on there really, really, really tight, which is what I want, okay? So we're in good shape there. Also make sure that when you put these on, since you can move them, these things are basically parallel to the surface of the earth here as far as a 90-degree from it. So I'm going to tighten this down, make sure these are tight. If you go ahead and use these and this is loose, imagine what this might do to your alignment settings if this thing can slide back and forth. So this applies to any aligner. There's been a lot of people that might say, hey, I don't seem to be getting repeatable numbers. Well, usually what happens is one of these things is loose and this thing can slide back and forth as we're moving the wheel back and forth and such, or tip this way. So you want to make sure these are definitely tight. So you're in good shape here. Make sure the spacing here is all the same. Make sure you don't take up all the space on this one. This one's extended out this far and this one's not extended at all. So you want to make sure you're definitely centered. As long as you're centered and you use these as you should, these things work extremely well. It's very easy to go ahead though and get in a hurry and maybe not do it properly. It doesn't take any longer to do it right. So let's make sure we do it right. The alignments will be just like that, totally right.